Welcome back.
Back from what?
Like from the last episode.
Oh, welcome back from. It's good to
the-
see you
if
again.
it's the first time though, like, what's up?
Or if you didn't listen to the last episode and you kind of like just you pick some, choose
Yeah.
some based on the titles of the episode.
Screw you.
Or if you're not, screw,
I'm kidding.
screw you. Don't be mean to people. You gotta
Okay.
be nice.
Okay. Okay, today's theme of this episode is behind the scenes of preparing for your website.
And building your own website.
Yeah. This comes in,
It's very timely.
yes, it comes at a good time because we have launched our new site.
Our new site is up.
Michael, add a little jingle. It comes at a great time because we launched our new website, and so we had to go through the process for ourselves.
Which
even though
was kind of difficult.
yeah, it's a little tough.
Sometimes it's hard to like do your own thing back to yourself.
True. And we're going to talk about that next week, about like doing the thing for yourself.
Right.
Today, we're going to talk to you if you're like, oh my gosh, I would love to get a website. Not from, I mean, it can be from us, but anyone. We wanted to talk about things you should think about before you even like talk to someone about.
Right. Because there's so much, it's difficult to, people ask us all the time, how much does it cost to make a website? And I was like, there's like 120 questions I want to ask you,
Yeah.
and then we'll figure out how long and much effort all of that takes and does it make sense. And most people just were like, what's your rates? And I'm like, that's, with websites, it's so broad.
yeah,
So broad.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that.
Let's do it. So first off, Allie,
Yeah.
what are some things that people should think about, or you think, man, this is important to work on when you're working through a website?
So the first thing that we want someone to ask themselves is, why do you need a website?
Yeah.
A lot of things that come with that are like, what opportunities or business opportunities or clients am I missing out on if I don't have one? Like, is it because of that? Is a website something that could help your customers if, like, in a way that writing on like Medium or Twitter, like,
Oh, something that's a social net. What does your website need to do that you can't do on a social network?
yeah, even like email marketing, like, do you feel limited by your tools? And can
Right.
your website help the people that you're trying to help
Yeah.
more? So I would say, like, if you're selling a product and you're just like posting on Instagram and like mass emailing people when there's new products, they probably want somewhere where they could just go to and browse.
Right.
You know, and like not have to be bothered by a post or to see you show up in their feed to buy.
Right.
And then one of the other things would be just, what do you want people to do on your website?
Yeah.
I think sometimes people get a little thrown off when we start talking about the content, or what does this page do? You know, like, what's the purpose of it? And it's honestly why in the past few months, we've really pushed people to start small, like have a one-page site that just talks about who you are.
Right.
You know, you don't have to have this like 6 to 20 page website and stuff like that. So those would be the first two things. The other thing would be, if you look at your business, and I know it's hard when people are like, I don't know how much I should budget, but you should sort of know, right? I mean, this is kind of me asking you, Adam, like, at what point?
You should know how much money you could possibly spend
Right.
without,
Right.
crying.
Right.
I mean, I think websites, tools like Squarespace or WordPress or Wix or Shopify are so easy to do on your own.
Yeah.
That if you don't have any money, or if you are going to run out of money,
Yeah.
or you can't spend everything you have on a website. You
Yeah.
have to budget other things.
Right.
And so if that's not possible to do, you don't have to do that. There's no rule that says
Right.
you
And if
can't have a simple Squarespace site.
And if you're having a hard time figuring out that investment, compared to what you want your website to do. So some people, we sit down with them when they're talking about getting a website, and they're just like, yeah, I just want like a simple site, talks about me, but then I want someone to be able to log in and then have to pay to get information. We're like, oh, so like, yeah, if you have $4,000, you could get this, but in order to get your dream functionality, you're going to have to spend a ton more, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that could maybe be helpful, but I know that it's kind of a loaded question. And sometimes in this industry, you can feel like if you're talking to a developer or designer that they're like, well, how much can you spend? That they're going to just max out your budget.
Yeah.
Try to find a partner,
Yeah.
you know?
And a lot of people are like that. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell you that no one's going to be that way.
Right. And hopefully the people you're talking to have a general idea of what that can get you, or like they've heard your problems and your goals and they can advise on.
So tell me about
cost.
As you and I designed our website, talk about what were some of the things that we did behind the scenes that helped, because we did some planning before you started to touch a file.
Yeah.
Like what were some of the things that were helpful to you to help that process like really go along?
Well, there were a few different like bullet points, lists of things that we wanted to be different than what our old site looked like. And so there were some inconsistencies and all of that. But really it was writing down all of our ideal clients, our favorite clients we've ever had, and then writing down all of the work that we wanted to get hired to do, like the kind of work. So I have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of photos that I've taken, but I'm putting my favorite photos in the context of I want to get hired to take photos like this.
Right.
So I could love a photo that I took of this subject matter, but I maybe don't do that anymore, or I don't really want to take those photos. So that was really huge.
Well, so I would say if you are a person building your own website, photography, if that's something you have or don't have, getting a lot of it first. Like start with a lot and then pare down based on whatever you're trying to have happen. So collecting all of the content is a big deal.
For sure. Collecting the content, collecting a list of, like how does my site work for our process was a huge thing for us. So we thought through how our inquiry form works. The questions that we're always asking people all the time now, we ask them that in the inquiry process.
We had a bunch of people fill out an inquiry form. We went through this period where it was a lot of people who didn't fit very well. Either they had no budget and they just needed to talk to somebody for a minute, or they had they didn't care about the work that we did. They just like someone said hire them, but they didn't know that we have like a way we do things,
right?
And so we were like, oh, let's make this feel like an application. That was like one of the biggest goals was we want to filter out projects that aren't the right fit for us and would be a better fit with somebody else.
Basically, the inquiry form is long enough that if someone's in a rush, they won't be able to submit, which was great for us. The other thing I would think through, though, before we get more specific is how long does the site need to last before you need to update it? So think into the future. The cool thing about the way we do sites is it's very easy to evolve the sites that we make. It doesn't like cost that much to add on something later. We make it very flexible, but you should think through, don't make a new website if you're a photographer and you're shooting weddings and in 3 years you don't want to shoot weddings anymore. Hopefully you could just change out the work, but I think it's important to think long term. And so that really depends on the kind of tools you pick to build your site, the kind of partners you choose to help you with it. And
I think in that, thinking through where your business is going to be in a year, or thinking through, I'm going to start this online store. I don't have any money. I haven't sold any products, so I'm just going to do a free Shopify theme and do it all myself. In a year from now, do you want to be selling $10,000 of product every month?
Yes.
If so, there's going to be things that are foolish to spend money on now, but also foolish to wait and spend money on later.
For sure. You end up spending almost more.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's so true. If you want to get into specifics.
Yeah, I think because you've been in this world and you've been doing it. And so I think you probably, or we both have some thoughts in our head about, for me, this was so critical to have.
Yeah. Or for our clients.
Next to us. Yeah.
The first, we had this, but like make sure your domain name is available. Sometimes that gets a little dicey in that, not that you can't keep making your website or you can't be working on it, but that can really hold people up. The other thing would be if you have the ability to, or you enjoy getting on Pinterest or browsing websites that you love and just making a note of different things you like. whether you like the way they handle their pop-up or their opt-in, you like the way certain photos are arranged, you like how one of them is viewed on mobile. If you're someone that enjoys living in that sort of visual space, definitely keep track of what you like, because even in our online membership, I created a video that talks a lot about, like, if you like something, there's ways to find themes on Squarespace that help make that happen.
Yeah.
And so you don't really know that until you start looking around or you start thinking of the content that is actually going to be on your site. And the other thing would be definitely start writing. Write for the copy that's on your site. People call it words, text, copy.
People do call it words.
And so I definitely think that it's the type of task that everyone puts off, but if you start writing and know generally what you want to say, it helps shape the design so much.
Right.
So if you have 5 paragraphs talking about you and you're looking at themes or you're working with the designer, you want to accommodate for all that text.
And I think there's two reasons that when that part gets skipped, problems that happen. One is we end up making websites that are very beautiful but don't tell a story very well. And they don't copy works really well at selling things for people who are ready to buy them, for people who are like researching, learning, trying to figure something out. And so you might still have sales or still sell things if you don't have great copy on your site.
Yeah.
Or if you just have great imagery. Your site can still be successful, but you will do a lot more if the text is there. And if you don't plan for that, it becomes an afterthought.
Yeah, you'll get... Oh, no.
Well, the second part of that is if it's not there, Google doesn't like you very much, because Google knows that pages on the internet that don't have very much text aren't that useful to display in search results.
Yep.
And so I think there's like... The number used to be 300, but most people get to like 500 or 800 words per page. And so if you have some pages that are very light on content and you care about showing up in a search engine, that doesn't often happen if we're doing the copy after we're designing something.
Right. You just end up like throwing a paragraph in. Yeah. No, that's so true. And I do think that so many people want to keep it very simplified, but you have to play by some rules, you know,
but you don't have to play by all the rules.
Yeah.
Which, like, if you and I are going through building our own website, there are some things that I was like, oh, this should be like this, because that's like a rule of how the internet works. And you were like, that doesn't look good though.
I was like, I don't care.
So I don't care about your rules.
But I do think, so yes, Google.
How did I respond to that?
You were like, do you really want to know my opinion or not?
Right.
No, but listen. This is a good lesson. Everybody listen, okay? Google might have its rules. The Wonder Jam does not get hired by people searching for us.
Definitely not.
Second, I was thinking of our people, like the people we love.
So explain this, because this is probably the most important thing, and you haven't talked about it yet.
You have to think about who do you want to hire?
Who is this for? Yeah. Like every page of your website, every word that you write, every photo you take, everything that's there.
Yes.
You think of who is this for, and your about page might be for somebody different than your product pages are or your service pages, and that's okay.
Yep.
So talk about how you worked to keep in mind who it was for.
So I thought of, yes, I'm going to have more text than I would on certain pages, but I am going to talk to small business owners. I am not going to make ourselves seem big and flashy and like important. I'm going to talk about how we decided who we work with a long time ago, and it's small business owners. It doesn't mean that we've always worked with small business owners and we haven't dabbled in working with bigger corporations or, you know, not directly with an owner, but I pulled my empathy card out and flexed the muscle and did.
How did you do that practically?
I thought about the things that probably...
Did you write anything down and keep it next to you?
Yes.
Okay, so tell people that.
The names of the clients.
Right.
Yeah.
You wrote down the top 10.
Actually 4.
4.
Yeah.
You wrote down 4 names of people who like have embodied people who let us do a lot of different things for them.
Yep.
And are growing and work hard and are people who we're like...
Yeah, even the testimonials we have listed, the things that I emphasized from their testimonial were specific. And it's just thinking of, if someone is like this ideal client that we have, I want them to feel like they can resonate with the words that we have. Same with photography. So our photography assets tend to just be our work. Mm-hmm. So I'm picking the work that I think is diverse and communicates. You know, like there's some logos that I love that we've made, but the businesses don't exist.
Yeah.
Because they've stopped or they've gotten sold, and they're not on there because if I can't specifically talk about the problems that we solved or the people that we worked with on that, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's a logo that I loved, but it doesn't exist anymore, or it never came to fruition, then it feels like I'm just back in college putting fake work in my portfolio.
And I think a cool thing, and this is something that took us a long time to understand how we get paid. Yeah. Which is part of our conversation from last week, even of, or our last episode was about delegating, and kind of told our money story a little bit. So much of figuring that out has allowed us to be pickier, more picky about who we work with or who we're trying to attract really hard, and who we would like to offend, or all of those things. Yeah. And so if you're just starting out, you haven't done all of that yet. And so don't feel like you're supposed to. Yeah. But as you go and progress and change, your website should update itself. Mm-hmm. What's been funny is we've been working on our website for a month-ish or so. You and I have. And during that time, people we work with would tell us how much they love our website.
The old one.
The old one, saying like, oh my gosh, I love your site. And we're like, we hate it, kind of. We don't hate it. It's like, it's fine. Yeah. It's done its job. But now we have a new job and we're swapping it out. Yeah. And I think that as you are designing something and going through and looking at sites, you never know behind that website, that company or that person who you're looking up to or emulating or ripping off might be like, actually, this doesn't work. Actually, this is very ineffective, but you think it's cool. Right. But I'm going to try and like copy this. Yeah. And so I think, this is why I think focusing in on your audience and what do people care about? What are their questions do they have? How do you want them to feel is so powerful, because it keeps you from, like, there's times where we looked at there's like 3 design studios that we are like our heroes. They're like the way, no?
I don't have heroes.
Right. Okay. What would you call them?
Interested in them.
Interested in them. Yeah. There's 3 design studios that Allie's interested in. Is that good?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh. I wish we could send people a photo of the way you just looked at me when I said that.
I'll post a selfie and the notes. I'll try to recreate it.
There's some design studios that have some good things about them. Yeah. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
You're such a nerd. We were looking at their sites, and we were trying to think of like, oh, how do they communicate this particular thing, or how do they be selective? And we had to remind ourselves that thing that we hear from other people so often of, they might hate their website, or they might be like, this doesn't work at all, or we're getting like way too many of these type of inquiries that we're trying to filter out. So you don't have to worry about emulating people, for sure, which is easier said than done. Yeah, definitely. I want to hear from a Diamond member.
I can't wait. Let's give him a call.
Hello?
Hey, it's producer Michael. I have a quick question for you.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, hey, I was wondering if you could introduce yourself to our listeners and then tell me a little bit about what the Diamond membership has been like for you.
My name is Jennifer Faltz, and honestly, I do a lot of things, but mostly I provide creative communication solutions for women who own small businesses. The Diamond membership is a great extension of the coaching I did with Adam in 2017. A lot of business memberships, masterminds, or networking groups are either spammy and gross or fake and rah-rah, neither of which I need in my life. which is why I typically don't join them. But the Diamond membership provides genuine encouragement, honest feedback, and authentic community. I can ask stupid questions and people will give me answers and tell me that I'm asking stupid questions, both of which are super useful.
What's been neat lately, Adam?
Welcome to our segment called Isn't That Neat?
Oh, thank you.
If we don't tell people what the segment is, then how will anyone know?
True.
That
this isn't viral. This is our segment where we talk about things that are neat.
Yep.
Adam, what's been
It's
neat?
an important conversation to have. You know what I thought was neat was a movie that is not a secret, but the movie Infinity War from the recent Marvel.
It's war, not wars.
I think it's one war.
Ooh, I don't know.
It's
Okay.
Infinity War, right?
Okay.
One?
Probably.
Yeah.
Star War.
Star Wars Infinity War.
That's a good way to remember.
I don't know if it's true though.
Oh, right. Yeah, producer
Someone
Michael's
tweet.
giving me a
Okay,
nod.
good.
So you saw it.
We saw
Are you going to
it.
spoil it right now?
Yeah.
Don't.
So at the end, oh no, I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to talk about is the ending, though. I thought it was neat how a Marvel movie, which sometimes I watch superhero movies,
Yeah.
Marvel movies, whatever, at home when I'm doing work or
Yeah.
just hanging out. And you'll be like, was it good? And my response is always, this is
It's
always
fine.
entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, it could be the worst movie. Pick the worst superhero movie. I watched it and I thought, oh, yeah, this was kind of fun.
Fine. Yeah.
But this one made me tear up. I had
didn't go with you.
strong feelings.
I wasn't invited.
You were, yeah, definitely not. No,
That's
it's
cool though.
Yeah, I thought it
Trying
was
is
neat
good.
how Marvel decided to really make you feel something that you didn't expect
Yeah.
to leave the movie feeling. And I don't want to talk about it
Yeah.
because there will be people
Or-
listening who haven't
yeah.
seen it.
Yeah.
But
That's cool.
it was impressive. In a way, I left being like, that might be the best one of them. Not because it made me the happiest or what I would say is the most fun, but because it was like, it takes some work to make a person have that kind of
They're
feeling.
artists.
Definitely.
Someone is.
Allie, has there been anything that you think is neat?
Mine is also movie related.
Okay.
There's a movie coming out called Crazy Rich Asians,
Awesome.
which is a book.
Why is that neat?
It's an all Asian cast,
That's what I'm talking about.
which hasn't happened since like, I don't know, the 50s or 60s or something like that.
It's been that long?
Yeah. It's been a while.
Would you say the majority of humans on the planet are probably Asian?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I think like here, not like in China or.
Well, I would say they are too.
No, but they have movies that are probably. I don't know actually.
But I just
Can
think-
you look that up, Michael?
Don't you think it's crazy?
Is that true? In the whole world? Yeah, in America.
Right.
Okay.
No, but I was talking to a client today.
You
who
started
was,
messing with my brain. I was like,
Yeah.
well, obviously.
No. I was talking to a client today who was like, and we were talking about race issues along with their business because that's what we do here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, the majority of the world doesn't have the skin tone I have.
Yeah,
You know,
which is like a pink undertone.
But if you, what's the
If I was
what's
color
my
matching
Fenty, what's
you-
my Fenty?
I don't
name?
know, but I think in Mac you'd be like NCN. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
And I saw a tweet basically that's like, hey, everyone, you don't have to just say that this is like the Asian version of Black Panther because that's not the thing. So stop. But I saw another meme that was basically Constance Wu, who's like one of the main characters. She was on Ellen, and Ellen was like asking the other guy, like, oh, where are you from? And he was like telling his Asian heritage background. And she's like, Constance, what about you? And she's like, Richmond, Virginia, and like gives her a look.
And you
'Cause
felt that.
all my whole life, people are like, where are you from? And I'll say, Normal, Illinois.
Yeah.
And you can tell they're not like satisfied with that answer, but that is literally where I'm from.
Right.
Maybe someone listening right now thought I was white 100% white this whole time.
Oh, right. If they only ever listened to
me.
the podcast
Yeah.
and
I don't
never
have an
looked at a
accent or
social network or something.
Yeah. There's
wonder
got to be someone.
Yeah, somebody has to be.
What's up? So I'm excited. I think that's neat.
I think that's neat too.
I'm going to go see it. I have that. I forget the date it comes out, but I have that in my calendar and Ocean's 8.
Ocean's 8.
And Kimmy Schmidt season 4. Ooh, those are all in our
I'm
calendar.
into it. I mean, Kimmy is dope. Titus, though,
Titus is why I'm there.
Titus could be garbage and I would love it.
Yeah. I'm so excited. So anyways, that is the end of our episode.
And
be sure to hit subscribe.
Be sure to like it on a social media.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
We start saying amen at the end of our episodes.
Peace.
Peace and amen.